Welcome in, everybody, to the Gannon Golden Knights Coaches Show. We are back here at the Sheraton Erie Bayfront with another round of coaches and student athletes, and kicking things off for us is men's basketball senior Sean Colosimo. Thanks for coming in today.
Thanks for having me.
All right, we're going to hop right into it. I'm excited because you guys are the first people that we're going to get to have come in that have completed a season, played all your games. You're in. You can actually talk about a lot of sports-related things, so that's going to be fun for me.
Yeah. Yes.
But we are going to kick it off with back in, let's say, like the summer, early fall, whenever things were looking different. What was that like to have to come back to school in the fall and under different circumstances, coming in early? You guys weren't sure what everything was going to look like. What were those few months like?
It was very unique. It was a unique summer, I'll tell you that. But what our coach did is we did Zoom sessions as a team together each month, and that really helped us stay in touch with each other, making sure that we're still keeping up with our workouts and stuff like that, so we're not coming back totally out of shape. I mean, it happens in the summer, but
right.
So yeah.
And then you guys got to start your practice on October 15th. That was probably the most normal feeling that you guys had in a while.
Yes.
You got to go at it, doing your 20 hours. What was that like, just to be able to get back on the court with the guys? And that was probably a little bit of the only part of normalcy you had there in the fall.
Yes, it was great. It felt like the last 3 seasons. It was a little bit of normalcy, like you said, and that's what we needed. That's what I need. So it was really nice to get in those 20 hours a week, just working hard with those guys, and I think we progressed a lot, which a lot of other teams in our league couldn't do, so it felt like an advantage.
All right, and then getting into the season, we had things scheduled in late November, early December. That would have been around the regular start time of the season. Number of reasons we weren't able to play those games, and we wound up not playing anything until the middle of January. What was that delay like whenever you're ramping up, ready to go, and then suddenly it's like, wait, hold on.
It's tough. It's tough because you're working towards games and playing games like that, and then it gets delayed, and sometimes your motivation can wane. But we pride ourselves on our ability to adapt, and Gannon, the school itself is amazing at adapting. You can tell that by just our COVID testing sites and stuff like that. We're really ahead of many other schools in that area. So, like Gannon, we just kind of adapted, and we just kept working hard and waiting for our next opportunity.
All right. So once you got to those games, it was kind of fast and furious.
Yes.
You guys got there and started playing. You played back-to-back games to start the season.
Oh yeah.
And then didn't ever know exactly who and when you were going to play, it felt like. What was that like, just being able to get back out there no matter who you were playing?
It was great. It was, to be honest, it felt like AAU basketball again, because we were playing multiple games, on weekends, and it's, we'll play anybody, which was fine with us, It beats practice playing games.
Right. How this team? So this is your 4th year on the team. How was this one different than your previous ones? Even whether it's the guys, the style of play, the season itself. What was different?
Yeah, I'd probably just say the structure of the season itself was the most different. Every year is a different team in college sports, and I really appreciate this team. I love this team this year, and I loved growing and progressing with them and working hard towards something. I'd say the thing that was just most different was our circumstances.
Right. And so you got to be there. Like I said, 4 years. Got a whole new group of guys. It felt like this year, a lot of young faces on the team. Lots of times you were the only one that had maybe, let's say, 10 career games under his belt whenever you were out there on the floor with some of those young guys.
Yeah.
What was that like to see them progress through the season?
It was good. I tell you, we got a lot of heart. We're a young team, but we play with a lot of raw emotion, which is great, and it's great to see. There are definitely times when we needed some veteran help and kind of a guiding hand to the college basketball life and what we're expected to be as student athletes. But for the most part, they're good guys.
Right. All right. So speaking of the student part of the student athlete, you are set to graduate and decided that Gannon's a good enough place to stick around for a little bit longer, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'll be here for another 3 years for their doctorate of physical therapy program.
All right. What do you want to do with that?
To be honest, I'm not sure yet. That's the program is structured so that I'll get a variety of experiences in a lot of environments, from pediatrics to geriatrics. So I'm hoping to hone in on my interests when I get there. So.
Right. Is that something that you kind of came in with? Has that been your major the entire time you're here? Kind of knew what you wanted to do?
It has been. So it's a little background. I have an older brother, older sister. My older brother's going to school to be a lawyer, and my sister's a singer down in Nashville, Tennessee. And my mother's a nurse, and before college she said, I need one of my kids to go into healthcare to take care of me when I'm older. So I said, all right, I guess I'll do that. No.
There you go. So you had it decided for you before you even knew it, right?
Yeah, kind of.
All right. Well, that wraps up this section on Gannon and basketball and all that fun stuff. So now we're just going to move away from that. We're going to move into the Fast Five segment. Get to know a little bit about you and just 5 quick questions, and we'll see what we can do. Ready?
Sounds good.
All right. We're going to start off with the first one. What's your favorite book?
Toughness by Jay Bilas.
Okay.
Yeah, Jay Bilas.
And let's see here. Favorite movie?
I love Shawshank Redemption.
Okay, that's a good one. And let's see. Dream car?
A Prius, no, I'm kidding. Probably a Lamborghini.
I tell people that's been my favorite one because of the wide variation of answers you get on that. Some people don't know, some people don't care, some people just have great answers. Great. All right, let's see. Dream vacation?
Italy. Yeah, my family's Italian. I'd love to go there.
All right, that would be a fun one. And last one here. Favorite band or favorite kind of music?
Lately, I mean, I appreciate all types, so I really like everything. I don't have a specific one.
All right, that's also a common answer. All right, let's see. So that was Fast Five. Men's basketball senior Sean Colosimo, thanks for joining us today.
Thank you very much again for having me.
All righty, and we will be right back with his head coach, Kelvin Jefferson.
The Yankee Honda knows winter does not slow us down in Erie. We're tough, so why not drive an SUV that fits who we are? Like the 2021 Honda CR-V LX all-wheel drive that you can now lease for only $198 per month. Erie is who we are. Honda is what we drive.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Gannon Golden Knights Coaches Show. We are joined now by head men's basketball coach Kelvin Jefferson. Thanks for coming in today.
Thank you for having me.
Starting to be a little bit more spring, summer-like. You can kind of tell it's getting near the end of the basketball season. And you just wrapped up what I imagine is the most crazy basketball season in your career.
It was unconventional. It was different. But we figured it out and we found a way to get through it. Obviously, the university and the athletic department and the administration did a wonderful job helping us every step of the way, but it was different. We'll never see anything like it again, I assume.
Sure hope not. So we're going to kind of go back to, not the beginning of it, but kind of in the summer and the fall. Yeah. Normally that's whenever guys are coming in. Sometimes it's the first time you're seeing the team together. You get to practice, you get to see them. You got to do that, but not in the normal way. So how did things look different to welcome them back?
Well, I mean, even before that, our recruiting wasn't done when this first started. And we brought in 8 new guys, 4 freshmen, 4 transfers. And I can't remember how many, but there were a handful of them that didn't get a chance to visit. When they got on campus in August, that was the first time they saw campus. So, that's unusual. That's not how recruiting usually goes. Once they did, we had to isolate. We had to be in our bubble. We had to take tests. We had to do a lot of things that you normally don't have to do. We had to ask them not to be regular college students. Right. And on top of the training, on top of the basketball and academics, one thing I encourage, and I want our student athletes to be there, I want them to be college students. I want them to enjoy the college experience. And this year, we couldn't allow them to do that. We had to take that away from them. So, it was hard. We couldn't allow them to go out and go to the mall and go to, different places. So socially, it really hurt them. but we had a great bunch, not just with my team, but all the teams, and we found a way to get through it.
Right. And you just talked about the negatives of that, not that they necessarily outweigh it, but I've heard that from a lot of teams that also they really could only hang out with themselves. So
Yes.
it kind of helped get the bond of the team closer faster. Do you think that kind of had the same impact?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Our team, this is probably one of the closest teams I've been around. If you got a chance to watch us online of any of our games, you will see, the guys on the bench are so happy for the success of the guys in the game, and when they get in the game, it doesn't end. We uplift each other, we support each other, we're there for each other, and I think that did have a lot to do with the bubble, hanging around each other and getting that bond early on.
Right. So you got to the beginning of the season, you got to start practice on October 15th. That was somewhat normal. And then we had games scheduled in late November, early December, and you kind of were doing your ramp up and then said, hold on. And we had to wait till January to start. So luckily, once we got going, we didn't really have to slow down too much. But what was that hurry up and wait process like?
I mean, it was tough because, the guys put in so much time and they worked so hard on the court to get ready to play, and then to have it just taken away, that was, I think that bothered a lot of guys, and I understood that. But, the big thing for us was safety first, and it was the right thing to do. This COVID, this pandemic is serious. I was one of the people that came down with the COVID-19 over Thanksgiving, and it really affected me. It hit me pretty hard. And then we had a few other guys on the team and coaches that got affected by it. So I thought it was the right thing to do. The last thing I want to do is jeopardize guys on the team. So, we made that decision to hold and go on pause. And, when we came back, we were ready. Guys were ready. They did the right thing when they went home. They isolated, they stayed away from people, and they came back, and we were able to, have a season, although modified as it was.
Right, and then once you got started, it was a sprint. We can just kind of talk before we got on here. It felt like this season started, a couple weeks ago?
It feels like it just started and it ended, like a week or two ago. But that's part of it.
Yeah, and you got to see some new teams. Obviously, played a lot more non-conference games than what you normally would in a normal season. What was that process like, trying to find opponents to play?
Yeah, it was interesting. This year I say we almost participated as an independent school. We only, including us, only 3 teams in our league played, Clarion and Mercyhurst. Actually, and IUP came in late. They weren't playing at all. They came in late and played. So the scheduling was different. We would do home and homes. We would do back-to-backs. We'd do whatever we had to do to get some games in. And I think it benefited us very well. I think just to get on the court, especially with 4 freshmen, 4 transfers, to give them that experience, to get the team to learn how to play each other, I think that's going to help us down the road. That's going to make us a better team. So, I am very happy with the experience. I'm very happy we had the opportunity to do it, and that the school, provided us an avenue to do it with the testing and everything we did.
And what kind of growth did you see out of the team over that short sprint? Because I thought I saw a lot of development. You mentioned all the new people, the young people. I just told Sean sometimes he was the only guy out there that had double-digit games in his career at some point during the season. So what was it like to see that progress?
Nah, it was great. Again, we have a great bunch of kids. I love these kids to death. They work hard. They come in, and but it's still a learning process. It's still a teaching process, and there's growth that needs to be that needs to happen. And I saw that. When you look at the freshmen, when you look at Robertus Jonitis, and when you look at Ike Herster and Alfonso and Emmanuel, they took huge steps. No matter where you're coming from as a freshman, there's a step. There's a period where you have to go from this. The speed of the game is different. The athleticism is different. The teaching is different. So there's a learning curve, and they picked that up. And it took them a while. Yeah. And some guys learn quicker than others. It took them a while, but they figured it out, and that wouldn't have happened if we didn't have this opportunity. And even with the transfers with Braden, he had a wonderful season for us. But there are things that we ask him to do that he's that's foreign to him right now.
Yeah.
Defensively, we're asking him to step up and do some things. He's a wonderful talent. He's great with the ball. He's going to make us a very good team. But I'm going to challenge him to push him to get him better, and he's accepted that challenge. And you saw that towards he was definitely a different player from the end than he was in the beginning.
Right. How does that kind of bode for the future then? You got, obviously because of the COVID, everyone has eligibility to return, so theoretically it could be the same team next year. You're going to have mostly the same guys. Yeah. How does that look?
Yeah, I mean, we're still recruiting. We do have a couple of scholarships sitting, so we'll bring in a couple of guys. I think, with recruiting, we had a great recruiting class, and we took a huge step this year. You saw that. We cracked the top 25. We've done some things that we haven't done in a while, so we're on the right path. I think we're 1 or 2 players away from being really special, from taking another huge step. But with the guys we have, they did a wonderful job of accepting roles, figuring out who they are and how we're going to be and play as a team. But I think the future is bright. I'm excited about where we're going, and we're going to give the fans something to cheer for once they can get back into the Hammerville.
I said that's fine. That's what I was going to say. At some points, and you were probably hyper focused on the game, but at some points during some of these games, I just sat back and said, man, what would this be like with 1,500 people in here?
Yeah.
I'd say, I'm ready for that. I'm sure you guys are.
Absolutely. I tell you what, it gets so quiet in the Hammer. And the Hammer Mill's a loud place. I mean, it echoes in there when people are in there.
Yeah.
So to have my voice as the only voice in there sometimes, that was kind of frightening. But I'm looking forward to the fans. I mean, I think, with their support, we go a long way.
Right. All right, so that wraps up the Gannon and basketball-related questions. We're going to move on to the Fast Five segment.
Fast Five, here we go.
5 quick questions, have nothing to do with basketball, nothing to do with Gannon. Get to know Kelvin Jefferson a little bit better.
All right, let me concentrate. Here we go.
All right, you ready? We're going to start off with the one that sometimes stump people. Favorite book?
Malcolm X.
All right, favorite movie?
Oh, wow. I just watched it, Coming to America.
All right. Is it 1 or 2? You see the second one yet?
I didn't like 2, but we'll do that critique later.
All right. Dream car?
Range Rover.
Okay. Dream vacation?
I don't vacation. I like to work.
All right. And favorite band or favorite kind of music?
I'm an old school hip hop guy, and I'm talking Run DMC. I'm talking Curtis Blow. I'm talking old school hip hop. All this new stuff I can't understand. They talk too fast for me.
All right. That was the Fast Five. Kelvin Jefferson, head men's basketball coach at Gannon. Thanks for coming in today.
Thank you for having me.
All right. We'll be right back with our final guest. Volleyball coach Matt Darling is going to be here.
What is Gannon?
A place where you are transformed.
Where you can find yourself and define who you want to become.
A university grounded on faith and inclusiveness.
That values your well-being and growth.
Forming a family inspired by global connections.
A community that builds on our traditions with a vision for the future.
That believes in the possibilities.
And more importantly, believes in you.
This is Gannon.
This is Gannon.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Gannon Golden Knights Coaches Show. We are back here with volleyball coach Matt Darling for his second appearance on the show. How are you doing today?
Doing well, thanks, Dave.
All right, thanks for coming in. Ran here right after teaching a class.
Yes.
we had to adjust the schedule a little bit, but that's no problem because we love getting you back in here.
Great.
So you're extra busy than what you would normally be in a spring. You may still be teaching some classes, but you're also adding some travel and extra practice and all of that on top of it. What's it been like to get back to games now?
Well, getting back to games has been the best part of the year so far in terms of volleyball. I think the team enjoys practicing and hanging out with each other, but of course, we're all in it to play. So I think it's made the spring very, very exciting.
Right. What was that like after all this waiting, and then you got to the season, and then suddenly had to wait a little bit more? What was it like on those first games at Georgian Court, right? That whenever you actually got there, and I don't know, they blew the whistle for the first time and got to serve against someone else.
It was, even to get to that point, because we had 2 cancellations the week before, and it was starting to, I wouldn't say we were despairing, but we were starting to be very skeptical.
Right.
So to get there and to have that whistle blow and have another team on the other side of the net, it was really, really exciting. And I think, we traveled with only 11 that week, but those players and of course the coaches, we just loved being out.
Right, and then you got to follow that up a little bit later by getting to play against Hillsdale, which was supposed to be the opener at home, and then that didn't get to be played. So you got to go up there. At the time, they were the #1 team in the country, and you guys got to have a pretty nice day. What was that like? I mean, from how we played to what the reaction was like after the game and everything. What was that?
It was brilliant. I think, in the context of a season, it's just one match, and whether you win that or lose that, you have to move on to the next match. And I think that's by and large what we did. I mean, we let the team enjoy that for a couple of days, obviously, because it's the first time we've played a #1 team since I've been here, and to win it, of course, makes it even better.
Right.
But I think that's a memory maker, and I think you fast forward a year or two or 20. And that's the things that these kids, that's one of those matches these kids are going to remember, along with championship games and things like that. So from that standpoint, it's a once in a lifetime, and you hold that memory for a long, long time, and I think everybody will. But yeah, the build up to it was interesting. We were supposed to scrimmage them in November, and that got canceled. We were supposed to play them in early February, and that got canceled. So, it's kind of bad luck for Hillsdale. I mean, I've never scouted a team more than I have that. I mean, we basically scouted that team for 3 months. Yeah. And so we were ready. We were well prepared. I think, if you just take talent, I think they may be there a little bit better than us. But because we had that super high level of preparation, that helped. And then the emotions with which the team played, because after 2 false starts to play that match, when we finally got to do it, we played every point like it was our last. It was really, it really stood out, even in my coaching career, which has had a lot of highlights, because of the intensity of the focus and the performance. It was really special. Right.
You also had a bunch of new faces on the court, kind of playing together against other competition, that level of competition for the first time together. And I felt like I didn't watch all of it. I kind of kept up with live stats, watched a lot of the second and third set, but it seemed like kind of once they figured it out, they're starting like, yeah, we're playing right with them. We're right here. This isn't a, oh, look who we're playing kind of thing. Did you see that same thing from the sideline?
I did. I mean, I don't think, I knew we were in good shape even before we traveled, because on Friday, the last day of practice, I said, well, how are we feeling? Like, how does everybody feel? And several of the players said, we feel good. Like, they're not used to teams coming in there thinking they're going to beat them. Right. They're used to people getting off the bus knowing that they're going to lose, and that's not us. Right. So I said, this is great. You spent a long time trying to get the program to the point where people are believing those things about themselves. And not only do they believe it, but they proved it.
Right, and then you got to go to Clarion last weekend and got 2 more wins to get to 5-0 on the season.
Yes.
And so you're just kind of at this point just chugging along and trying to get everything that we can. And we kind of talked about this last time you were on, but so you're still looking at this as a developmental. Obviously, you want to go out and win, but developing, pushing, and building with all these new faces and trying to get there for the fall, but still want to have a successful season this spring, right?
Yes, exactly. So we're. There is probably going to be a national championship. It's not an NCAA championship, but the Volleyball Coaches Association stepping in, and it appears as though we're on schedule to be there. But it's not like a seeding matters or anything like that. The wins and losses don't really matter from a postseason standpoint for us. So yeah, we're definitely thinking about it as a way to get some people in some competition. We played twice at Clarion, and we used 2 very different lineups. Tried to get some people in the game. We're still trying to win. But we also are looking at future opportunities of changing up the lineup. I mean, it's just going to be different for us every time out because of that developmental piece.
Right, and then you got some more competition coming up. A lot of double headers. How much does that change? You're not unfamiliar with playing 2 matches in one day in some of the early season tournaments, but playing the same team back to back. How does that change things?
It changes it a lot. We have to really be mindful of overuse. We've got some experienced players who have chronic injuries, not anything acute, obviously, but we also have to think about the conditioning, how that works. We've got a couple players that are coming back from injury or being out. Those players cannot play back-to-back matches. So we're putting set limits on some people. Some people are going to play 3 or 4 sets. We change personnel, sometimes based not just on performance, but also based on trying to get 2 matches worth out of people. But I think that also fits into our developmental scheme. So there's upside and downside of the doubleheaders. I do think that it's nicer in the fall, in the typical fall, when we play at like 10 a.m. and then you've got like 5 hours before you play again. I think that model is a little bit more beneficial if you're keeping the same lineup. But because we're substituting relatively freely, I think it's going to be manageable for us.
Right. And most importantly, it allows us to get matches in.
That's the key. Yeah.
And that's what you got to say. As we learned through all those months of playing against ourselves.
Yeah. Exactly.
That they need some of that. So glad to see that. Glad to see the success that you guys are having so far. We're excited to get a home match here at some point. I've had bad luck with that.
Yes.
But we definitely have some scheduled, and we're looking to get to see them in the Hammermill Center here. Hopefully coming up soon.
The players are looking forward to that as well.
I imagine. All right. So that wraps up the volleyball related questions there. We're going to move on to Fast Five. This is your second appearance, so we got 5 new questions for you.
And I promise to do better this time than I did the last time.
Not going to try to test your memory on remembering the other 5. All right, so ready to give it a shot?
I'm ready.
All right, we're going to lead off with, what's your favorite food?
My favorite food at the moment is tempura, Japanese fried vegetables with rice.
All right, let's see. What is the best game match that you've seen in person? Doesn't have to be volleyball, but you could be playing, coaching, just watching as a fan. What's the best one you remember?
I think the most memorable on television was the Women's Soccer World Cup game in maybe 2010 when Japan and the U.S. played, and the last 10 minutes of that game were amazing, and then the overtime was just incredible. Unfortunately, the U.S. lost, but it was brilliant.
Yep. All right, let's see. What's your favorite sport other than volleyball?
Oh, I get asked this by my son all the time. I'm going to go with baseball.
All right. Let's see. And this one I came up with a couple weeks ago whenever we were dealing with some winter weather. But would you rather have a foot of snow or have it be 100 degrees and humid out?
Foot of snow.
All right. I love that question. Gets just people are set on theirs, but it's 50-50 on what answer they give. All right. Let's see here. And last one. What's your favorite animal?
Well, I'm not a big pet person. I feel like I can barely keep my kids alive, let alone have to be a pet owner. So I'm going to use my standard. When I go to the Erie Zoo, my favorite animal is the Canadian lynx. So I'm going with that.
All right. There it is. That's the Fast Five. Did an excellent job here, just like your first time.
I was better this time for sure, Dave.
All right, and we'll have to get you back on sometime to see if your improvement continues.
I need a progress report for sure.
All right, hey, thanks for coming in and joining us. That is volleyball coach Matt Darling. Thank you for tuning in, everybody, to the Gannon Golden Knights Coaches Show. We will be back here. We're taking next week off, but we'll be back in 2 weeks here at the Sheraton Erie Bayfront. Thanks for tuning in.